Well, West Virginia had another scrimmage. This time it wasn't a secret scrimmage. It was live on ESPN Plus, and we're going to break it down right here on this episode of Mountaineer Moment. This is the Mountaineer Moment, your source for all things West Virginia football and basketball. From pregame to postgame coverage and breaking news, we've got you covered. Let's go. Welcome in, everybody. Episode number 61 of Mountaineer Moment, talking about the Mountaineers' final tune-up before the regular season gets started against Mount St. Mary's on November 4th. So the new era of West Virginia basketball is here under head coach Ross Hodge, and we get our first real look, unless you want to count that little teaser that the Mountaineer basketball Twitter account and Instagram account gave us after that secret scrimmage against Maryland. But the Mountaineers had a scrimmage exhibition on Sunday afternoon of homecoming weekend, and they did not disappoint. It was an 80-54 win over Wheeling of the D2 ranks, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the good and the not so good. It's hard to look at this game and be like frustrated and angry with any level of performance, especially with it being an exhibition, especially with it being an entirely new roster and again a 26-point victory. But we will get into some things that could lend to all right, let's keep an eye on that. Certainly as the regular season gets going next week, right? We're here in the last week of October, for the final Sunday of October. Mountaineers have a scrimmage on ESPN Plus, and next Tuesday these games are going to count against Mount St. Mary's when they come to the Hope Coliseum. So we're going to break that down, the good, not the bad and the ugly, but the good and the not so good, we're going to call it for this episode. But this is episode 61 of Mountaineer Moment. This is, I don't even know, our 7th or 8th episode maybe, covering West Virginia basketball, and super thrilled to be here ready to start a new season, and super thrilled to be covering it here on the Mountaineer Moment. West Virginia football and basketball, we fully believe that we're your source for that. Coming at you here with episode 61 on a podcast, a show that's been around for just about 2 months. And so you do the math, right? About an episode a day at this rate. And if you haven't joined the Mountaineer Moment movement yet by subscribing, please do that. Whatever platform you're on, whether it be YouTube watching us here or listening on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, hit that subscribe button for us and help us help you. Drop a like, leave a comment, leave a rating. Whether you're if you're on one of those audio platforms, but leave a comment on YouTube. Love interacting with you guys, and love talking about this Mountaineer basketball team. So again, 80-54. We're not going to waste any more time. 80-54 for the Mountaineers, and just we'll go broadly. Just broad look at the game. I was able to watch the whole game again on ESPN Plus. Then we'll get into the box score a little bit, and then we'll get into some specifics, with the good and the not so good. So broadly, you like it just because it was like a breath of fresh air again, because we've been watching this football team for so long now, and it's been frustrating to watch all throughout. And now you watch a Mountaineer basketball team that you're excited about. There's lots of hype. There's, I think, valid reason to be excited because there's a lot of talent here brought in. Ross Hodge has done an incredible job, at least on paper, with bringing these players that he's brought in. An entirely new look coaching staff, new look roster, and there's reason for optimism. There just is. And so for starters, regardless of the outcome, regardless of the fact that it was against a D2 school in Wheeling, regardless of what they even looked like on the floor, it was just exciting to see them on the floor, if you know what I mean. The start of the season is just a few days away. There's a healthy buzz, a healthy feeling, whether you like the summer or you don't, but summer's over, fall is here, winter's coming, and it's getting cold, and that just means it's basketball season. And, the NBA is underway, college basketball shortly to follow. We're just days away from it, and there's a lot of buzz, a lot of hype surrounding the Mountaineer basketball program, and we got to see them play basketball tonight. That's cool. So for starters, let's just say this is a good thing, because basketball's back, and we need it. As Mountaineer fans, we just need it. Box score-wise, a few things that will just give you here that kind of stand out. Again, 80 to 54 in favor of the Mountaineers. Mountaineers shot 51% from the floor. Wheeling shot 33%, although they did shoot 38% from three-point land, knocking down 9 of their 24. West Virginia made just 6 out of 20 for 30% from deep. Mountaineers got to the line 28 times, knocked down 18 of them, 64%. Something to keep an eye on throughout the course of the season is how this team shoots from three and from the charity stripe. A few guys that jump out. We'll get into like the really deep level box score, but or deep level, just kind of who was good and who's something to keep an eye on. Harlan Obioha certainly stands out. More on him in just a minute. Brennan Lorient stood out to me. Jasper Floyd stood out to me. Jaden Forsyth, he knocked down 3 threes in his, I don't even know, just 9 minutes. He had 9 points in 9 minutes, 3 of 4 from downtown for him. Again, for a team that just made 6 out of 20. So he knocked down half of our threes. Honor Huff made 2, and Trayson Eaglestaff made 1, and that was it. There weren't even that many more attempts. Chance Moore shot one early. Got a 3-point off that he missed. And then Ugasuk, in his 17 minutes, shot just 1 3 and missed, and had 4 points on the evening for him. So some things that you like, just again broadly, I like the effort. Honor Huff was diving around for a couple balls, and defensive intensity was there at times. And I think Ross Hodge really obviously he knows a little bit more about basketball than I do, especially on the defensive end, really put it well post-game in relation to what his team did defensively. Like, you could tell that, the moments when maybe it was Wheeling, moves the ball around and finds a shooter for an open look and they knock it down. That was a characteristic of West Virginia's defense, getting spread out a little bit. And then, those moments, because there were a few shot clock violations, you forced a few turnovers, Wheeling, throws up a prayer, late shot clock, those kind of situations, you could just tell West Virginia's defense had great continuity to it. They played well, played together, fed well off one another, rotated well, that kind of thing. And to me, that post-game, press conference, comment that Coach Hodge made just made a lot of sense to me. Passed the eye test, right? His comment post-game lined up with what I was watching throughout that game. So when the team got spread out, led to some easy looks. When they stayed together, when they rotated well, it gave Wheeling fits, and as it should. Again, no disrespect to that program or anything, but this is a high-level power conference basketball against a D2 Wheeling school, and so you should give them fits. You especially Ross Hodge and this team, who are going to seek to hang their hat on defense and what they bring to the table on that end of the floor, you really should play well against a team like that. Okay, rebounding the ball, it was 40 to 26 in favor of the Mountaineers. Obviously, that should happen. You should absolutely out-rebound this team, especially with the big man, Harlan Obioha, who, again, we're going to get to. West Virginia led from start to finish, of course. 41 to 21 at half, 39 to 33 in the second. Wheeling did start the second half on a little bit of a run that actually caused, not a big run, but a little one, that caused Hodge to call a timeout even before that first under 16 timeout. West Virginia called one. So second half, and again, West Virginia played everybody, and that lead could have been a little greater, obviously, at the end of the game than a 26-point victory, because you win the second half by just 6. Some of that has to deal with that Wheeling run to start, and then some of that has to deal with everybody played for West Virginia. No one had more than Honor Huff had 28 minutes, but you had several freshmen and some of these young guys obviously getting in the game and getting a lot of minutes themselves. So, including Amir Jenkins, who didn't mention him, who didn't look overly comfortable. Obviously, a freshman who reclassified to the year that he's here now, and just 1 point for him, 0 of 3, but 4 rebounds and 3 assists for him in this game in his 17 minutes for Amir Jenkins, another freshman. We mentioned Jade North Forsyth earlier, 9 points, 3 of 4 from beyond the arc. So, a quick glance at the box score, and then obviously, again, the eye test, again, as I was able to catch this game, and I hope you were too. It wasn't like the most thrilling thing ever, right? It's a scrimmage against a D2 school, and I feel like we didn't show a lot as far as offense. Obioha was the best player on the floor for West Virginia for the minutes that he was there, and a lot of that's due to his size, obviously, but he showed some, he mentioned, I think, in one of his press conferences with the losing weight and getting his body right, his burst and his ability to get that second jump have been there, have been noticeable for even himself, getting, to a good weight for him. And you saw some of that even, right? I thought Andrew Caridi in the booth, not in the booth, but, on the floor when he was calling this game, said a couple noticeable things about Obioha was that, he was showing some finesse. He was showing some ability that wasn't just pure size and domination. He was showing some things that could work against anybody, and he proved that tonight. So shout out to Harlan Obioha as we'll get into, that'll be our transition into the good. All right, so the good and the not so good. The good, first and foremost, is Harlan Obioha. Again, if there was one noticeable mismatch heading into the game, it was West Virginia having a 7-footer against a D2 basketball team, much smaller team. Obioha played just 19 minutes and had his way. 19 points, 8 rebounds. He made 8 of 9 from the floor. The only thing he didn't do particularly well was shoot from the free throw line. 3 of 7 for him. Certainly something to monitor, again, as the season progresses and you're a big man and people are going to have to foul you at times. And so how many free throws are you going to be able to knock down? For your notes, Obioha is a 62.9, so almost 63% free throw shooter on his career. So just keep an eye on that. But he was dominant. And again, you love the weight loss and the muscle that he's put on, and encouraged by that. But again, that was expected, right? If there was one thing you could have expected, it would have been Harlan Obioha to do what he did tonight. And sure enough, he did exactly that. 19 points, 8 rebounds, 8 of 9, and 3 of 7 from the charity stripe in just 19 minutes. So shout out to Harlan Obioha. He was good. Jasper Floyd, who again we've talked about quite a bit, even on this show in the brief history of Mountaineer Moment, but obviously Jasper coming over from North Texas with his head coach, with Ross Hodge, who brings him. And I just think what you notice in Jasper Floyd tonight is how necessary, how vital his play and performance is going to be for the Mountaineers. His minutes on the floor, whether it be 32 minutes a game or 39 or 40 minutes a game, he's going to be important for West Virginia. Not jaw-dropping stats tonight, but he played 20 minutes and knocked down three of his 5 shots for 8 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist in, again, his 20 minutes on the floor. But again, he's the starting point guard. We know that. He has experience in Ross Hodge's system offensively and defensively. He's a senior. He's a veteran leader, and we're going to need every bit that he brings to the table. I think one thing I noticed, and if you watched even North Texas in the NIT when Floyd's scoring went up a tick for them as they made it to, I guess, the semifinals, Floyd has great pace, great feel for the game, some of those intangibles that you hear mentioned, and you're like, what is that? Well, he has feel for the game, and he plays with he controls the pace. He controls, the tempo out there. When West Virginia wants to push, he's going to push. When West Virginia wants to pull back and run a set, he's going to be the guy doing that. And I have the utmost confidence in him to be able to do that. He's, again, I've mentioned one of his earlier press conferences too, exudes confidence, and I love it. I think he should have that, and he's a good player. And so again, not, the good that I'm mentioning here isn't the fact that he went out and had a double-double with 15 points, 10, assists or anything like that. But you just notice when he's out there, he's controlling the team. He's the quarterback of the offense, and a good defender, right? He's 6'3". A lot of people, you think of, I don't know why, but I've heard people they're like, wait, Jasper Floyd's that big? Yeah, he is. And obviously part of Hodge's system, can defend, knows what is expected of him offensively and defensively. So I think all season long he's going to be huge, but especially with these other guys still figuring out what it's like, what Ross Hodge wants in this system on both sides of the floor. He's going to be very, very, very important to get these other guys around him going, get them comfortable in the early parts of the season. So Jasper Floyd and his role on this team cannot be overstated. He's huge, and the pace that he plays with, the control for the game, within the flow of the offense was notable tonight in just 20 minutes even. Last player that we're going to mention in this section, segment just dedicated to the good that we saw is Brennan Lorient. Obviously, if you've kept up with West Virginia basketball, this is a guy that comes over from North Texas as well. Sixth man of the year in the conference that he came from with North Texas, and you've likely heard about Lorient's athletic ability at 6'9". Jumps out the gym. Impressive athlete, and some of that was on display against Wheeling. He had 14 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks, 1 steal. He's a guy that can stuff the stat sheet in multiple ways. He played 25 minutes like Obioha, very efficient from the floor, 7 of 9 on his shot attempts, and was another guy that was just a bit of a mismatch for Wheeling. So you like a lot of what he did, and I think he's just very versatile. Brings a lot to the table. Great athlete, great motor. Again, like Jasper Floyd, he is essential to this team all throughout the season, but essential getting these other guys on board because he knows what it looks like. He knows Ross Hodge's system, and looking for, even just as he comes to the Big 12, what's he going to do to improve? Maybe what aspects of his game has he worked on the most? Is it beyond the arc? Because, again, with other weapons around him, he's sure to have some more looks, really knock it down. And, again, just what he brings defensively is versatility. Like a Chance Moore can certainly guard multiple positions, can certainly block shots and rebound the basketball. So you love that from him. And so I was encouraged just by seeing him on the floor, seeing what he brings to the table, and excited for what he's going to bring all season long. All right. Deep breath. Whew. So that's the good. And I just got 2 things to touch on as far as the not so good. And please don't like come in the comments blowing this out of proportion. This is an exhibition game. This is a game in which West Virginia played everybody on the roster. This is a game in which they led from start to finish, and they should against a team like Wheeling of D2. But there were a few things he didn't exactly love, a few things to monitor moving forward. And the first and the easy one, the low-hanging fruit, if you will, is the turnovers. West Virginia turned the ball over 13 times, and to be completely honest, end of game, you look at the box score, and my guess would have had it at way more than that. Maybe not way more. I would have guessed like 16 or 17. I just would have. Wheeling had 16 turnovers. West Virginia had 13. And there were just a few stints in this one. Again, I mentioned that second half run early, and run's a strong word, but a little spurt that Wheeling went on, and there was turnovers, and West Virginia, I think the first play out of the gate, out of halftime, after you struggle with turnovers in the first half, first play of offense, you turn the ball over to start the second half, and just not good. And you can chalk that up to the fact that it's October. You can chalk that up to the fact that this is a whole new ball team getting things together and trying to figure out sets and plays and where guys are going to be and how quickly they cut and all sorts of things like that. But the sooner we can all agree, right? Whatever you chalk it up to, what we can't agree on is that the sooner you clean that up, the better. And I get that we got to allow it to take time, but that statement still reigns true. The quicker you clean that up, the better for this basketball team. No doubt about it. So 13 turnovers, not ideal. Not ideal at all. Got to figure out a way to a way to bring that number down. And I think Jasper Floyd can certainly and should certainly play a part in that. He had 2 turnovers, but as far as getting guys where they need to be and making right passes, Jasper Floyd is going to lead the charge, and I have, again, full confidence that he is going to be able to do that. The only player that I'll mention, and it's not like, oh no, Trayson Eaglestaff was 1 for 7 from 3. He can't shoot. This was a bad, stop it. Like, that's not where I'm going with this. Hardly even going to mention the fact that he was 1 for 7 from 3. He was 1 for 7 from 3. I'll make sure that's the last time I say that on this episode. My point with Trayson Eaglestaff here is not rooted in the numbers. It's rooted in the fact that it might take some time for him to adjust to a new role in collegiate basketball. Trayson Eaglestaff was the guy, right? He went viral twice for performances he put on last season in North Dakota. He was the guy for them last season, averaging 19 points a game. And not only that, but he had 149 more shot attempts than the next closest guy on that roster last year. 149 more shot attempts. So he is the guy and the second guy, right? Like he was their focal point. The offense ran through Trayson Eaglestaff, and he excelled in that, scoring-wise. Again, 19 points a game. But now he's at West Virginia. And there's a lot of other guys that come from the same, ranks of him, mid-major, low-major programs, whatever you want to say, that come from Chattanooga, North Texas, and North Dakota, and UNCW, and Troy, and, the list goes on. We know where these guys come from. But now he's here with guys that come from those programs that are also here at, playing Big 12 basketball for a reason, because they've earned that. Make no mistake about it. Those guys were major contributors, if not the best players on those previous schools. But now he's at West Virginia, and while he is a major point, don't misquote me. Don't take this out of context. He's a major point of this West Virginia offense this season. Will have to be. He and Honor Huff, right? I mean, they're at least preseason, as far as what you're thinking scoring-wise, they're 1A and 1B as far as what they can bring to this Mountaineer offense. However, even if he is one of the best weapons on the offense, it's not North Dakota as far as who you're playing against, but also as far as how much and how often the offense is going to run through you. It just ain't going to happen the way it did. Tonight against Wheeling, again, it's an exhibition. They're trying different things, and there's all sorts of different lineups out there, and maybe no one really got into the flow of the game because of how often you're subbing guys in and out. But Trayson Eaglestaff didn't have the ball in his hands a lot. In those 3-point attempts, which I'm not going to mention how many he took and made, but in those 3-point attempts against Wheeling, I don't know if all of them were, but it seemed like a lot of them were catch and shoot. And you watch some of his tape at North Dakota, and the dude's calling ISOs, right? You think of that play when he went for 50 in the conference tournament, and obviously the performance against Alabama. He's calling ISOs on dudes. He's matching up one-on-one and going to them. A lot of times for jumpers, yes, but you didn't see that tonight. It's one game. It's not even a real game, right? And I get all that, but just something to keep an eye on, something to monitor is how quickly will he adjust to a new role, because however you want to slice it, whatever you want to say, that's a new role. It's not only a step up in competition. Now you're in the Big 12. This is big boy basketball. So it's not just that. It's the fact that this is new territory for him. Going from being the offense to, again, it's not like he's just another player. Again, don't mishear me, misunderstand what I'm saying. But now you're surrounded by more talent and guys that are going to get up shots too, right? Let's just put it that way. Will there be games when Eaglestaff goes for 20+? I fully believe it. Will it be as often as he did at North Dakota? Is he going to drop a 50 bomb this year? I don't know. That would be sweet too, but I'm not banking on that. So just something to monitor. Because, while a Chance Moore and a Brennan Laureate and a Jasper Floyd, not going to say Honor Huff, not going to include him in that. But some of these guys, Obioha even to an extent, they come in to a different program, different level of competition, and yet in a lot of ways their roles are the same, right? Brennan Laureate's going to do what he's going to do. Chance Moore does what he does. Harlan Obioha is a force inside, going to rebound the basketball, and he's a good passer and can finish around the rim. Jasper Floyd going to lead this team as the point guard, quarterback of the offense. Vital. Then you get to the guys like Honor Huff, and specifically who we're talking about here is Trayson Eaglestaff, who, had 150 more shot attempts than the next closest person on his team last season. And I'd be willing to make a large bet that ain't going to be the case between 1 and 2 this year, whether he's in that mix at 1 and 2 or not, whatever. But what I'm saying is he's in a new role. It's different. Is he asked to score the basketball? Yep, he's going to be asked to score the basketball. But it might be more catch and shoot than what he's used to. Do I believe he can knock it down? Yes. And do I believe that we're going to see more ISO out of him than we did against Wheeling? Yes. I believe that you're going to play to his strengths and capabilities. Do I believe he's going to catch fire multiple times this season and get you up off the couch celebrating? Yes. Like, he's that good of a scorer. But keep an eye on just this adjustment that he has to playing at West Virginia University with lots of talent around you, period. I could have just wrapped up right there or said that to start, and then this episode would be 10 minutes shorter, but here we are. So again, the good and the not so good things to keep an eye on from West Virginia in the scrimmage against Wheeling exhibition game. Episode 61 here on Mountaineer Moment. Again, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music. And, 80-54. We're likely to have another couple, maybe, preseason games before this, or preseason episodes, excuse me, before this thing actually tips off on Tuesday the 4th against the Mount St. Mary's Mountaineers. But you can bet from there on out, we're covering this team full force. And the next time we're going to be talking about West Virginia playing basketball, recapping a game, that game's going to count. And I'm super excited about it. I hope you are too. And for that reason alone, man, let's join the Mountaineer Moment movement. If you haven't subscribed yet, I don't know what you're doing. Subscribe, hit that like button, leave a comment. Love interacting, and excited to continue to grow this channel with you being a part of it. So thank you for your role that you're playing in that. You're making a difference, and it's a dream come true to be covering the Mountaineer basketball program, the football program, and let's go Mountaineers. We'll see you next time on Mountaineer Moment.